Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing good. Well, today I am kind of in the same space that I was in the last time I recorded, where I mentioned that a lot of the ideas and the topics that are coming to me are really like real time, real experience, even things that I'm going through right now, and this one is no different. So as you've seen, I've entitled this video Bloom Where You Are Planted. I cannot take credit for that. It was the name of a devotional that I was reading a few weeks ago, and then as soon as I read the title, I knew that it was going to be something impactful. And then as I kept reading, it was like one of the first things it says, many of us have heard that phrase. And I'll be honest, I hadn't heard it before. I knew what was going to be talked about was talked about, but it was so significant for me that I was like, I want to put my own spin on it and share, what I think that means in regards to living in and throughout your purpose. So bloom where you are planted. I have shared this before. We have strengths, we have weaknesses. My weaknesses, if I had a top 5, is that I have 0 green thumb for whatever. I cannot keep a plant alive to save my life. I can have a plant in my house and know that I need to water it. And it's so crazy because I'm so disciplined about so many other things. I will get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, haven't done it in a while, but to go to the gym, I'll set my alarm at 4:30 if I got work to do. That is a characteristic, that is a strength of mine. I'm very disciplined, but there's something about the extra effort of having to get up to go water that plant. It's like I cannot make myself do it. And so green thumb, do not have it. Plants die. I need something like a cactus or something it can survive 2 months. And if I don't water it, it will be okay. So it's so funny to me that this title really stood out to me because I'm thinking, bloom where you are planted has everything to do with planting and all those sorts of things. So I'm going to turn my weakness into a strength and run with this analogy. So bloom where you are planted. This is something that, for me, when I tie it into living out your purpose, essentially it means the space that you are in right now. Do your very best, be the best version of yourself in the time and space that you are in. So often nowadays, we live in a society that is very comparison driven, meaning, and social media does nothing to help that. But we live in a society where we're looking at what other people are doing and we want to be there, and we don't know how long it actually took them to get there. And so we're trying to look for shortcuts. And I say we collectively as a society. And anything, we've heard those sayings, anything worth having, it's going to take time and you got to go through the process and all of that sort of stuff. But so often I think what happens is we miss the lessons, the purpose of us being planted where we are in that moment. It could be for 6 months. It could be for 6 years. It could be for 16 years, whatever the time frame is, that's between you and God, essentially. But blooming where you're planted. So I'm going to use myself, for example. I said this before. I know that there is this bigger purpose that God has for me. I know what it entails overall, but again, I don't know the specifics. Currently, and I'm so blessed. My students probably get tired of hearing me say it. I am so blessed to have a job that I absolutely love, and I foresee myself doing it for as long as possible. I'm a sociology professor. I teach often say heavy hitter topics. I teach sensitive topics on race and social problems and, gender and all these sorts of topics that are like hot button topics nowadays. But I know that God has given me a gift to be able to teach these topics successfully. And so right now in this season, I can look and see of all the goals that I have and, know where I want to get to. And I know, the bigger picture. And sometimes I get so impatient and I'm like, God, it goes back to the topic I talked about, last time on waiting. And and while you're waiting, it can get difficult, right? But if we change our perspective and we look at the place that we are in right now, and it doesn't even just have to be place. It could be, yes, it could be job, but it could be job. It could be school. It could be where you live. It could be the relationships that you are in, friendships, romantic, coworkers. There's all sorts of places we are planted. And if we're in that space and we're so focused on hurrying up and trying to get to the next space, we're going to miss the reason that we are in that space and season and in that time. And that would be unfortunate, because a lot of times when we are planted in a certain place, it's for a certain purpose. We need to take the time to look and figure out, okay, why am I in this space? Why am I part of this organization? Why am I, in this relationship with this person? Why, and again, that can be any type of relationship. But if we're so focused all the time of trying to hurry up and get to the next space, which I totally get, I'm guilty of that as well, we might miss the reason on why we are planted where we are planted in that time, space, and season. And so you have a lot of homework with this one, okay? So your homework this week, think about where you are, okay? Think about where you want to be, and think about how you're going to change your perspective to focus on the purpose and the essentially the positives. What can you gain from being in the space and time that you're in right now? How Jaden is 17 right now. From the ages of 0, from the time I had Jaden until she was 10, I was a full-time stay-at-home mom, and absolutely was fortunate and blessed and absolutely loved being a stay-at-home mom with her. But I would be lying if I said, especially as she got a little bit older and I did go back to school to finish both my degrees, there were times where I felt like, I should have been further in life. I hadn't finished my bachelor's. I went back to school when I was 28 to finish my bachelor's degree and then jump right into my master's degree. But there was a time period where I was just like, I feel like I should be further. The group of people that I went to college with, they're all off and running and doing these things and have jobs and have families. That's what social media will open up the door for you to know, and all these sorts of things. But I can tell you on this side of it, being a stay-at-home mom with Jaden, being available to her, for me, I would not trade that. And that was the time and space that I was in that I needed to be. I was in moms groups that I was able to volunteer at her school. And essentially, I can see how a lot of that has served a purpose then in order to be beneficial for where I'm at now. So that's Carly telling me I need to hurry up my video as I get ready to wrap up. So we're going to bloom where we're planted. We are going to flourish and do the very best that we can, whether that's relationship, job, school, wherever God has us. The goal is to bloom where we are planted. So I hope that helps somebody. Maybe if you're frustrated with where you are, look for the reasons, the purpose that you can see that can benefit you later on. And I guarantee you, there's a scripture that I love, that talks about, all things work together for good in the end. And it is so absolutely true. And I wish that not only for myself, but for everyone else. So I hope you have a wonderful week or weekend, and I will see y'all on the next video.